Okay, so we got your gas, range, and oven unit right here. Notice we don't have any range hood here.
Right.
So range hoods are used to vent your odors and your exhaust if you have, like, you burn something, you want to get that smoke out, or if you know, I'm not saying you're going to burn something when you're cooking, you're probably a great chef, but if you're cooking and you just want to get those odors out, or bacon grease, that kind of stuff. So you really need a range hood.
Okay.
And you want it to vent to the exterior. You can use a recirculating unit, like the microwave that has the integrated fan and the air comes out the top. You've probably seen that before.
Yep.
You can use a recirculating vent, but you really want to be going out to the exterior.
Yeah.
So if you want to have the range hood here, one option would be to have it go through the ceiling and out to the exterior. So remember downstairs we saw the joists, the floor joists that are underneath us are going this way.
Yep.
It's very likely that the ceiling joists right here are also going this way, which means you could probably get that range hood exhaust up inside the ceiling.
Okay.
And go out to the
And then have it go right out. Oh.
Yeah, so those are some options there, but you really want to get that out. Behind here is the chimney, so you can't go into the wall.
Okay.
You're gonna need to just go up and that way.
Up and out.
Yeah. So other things we check for when we're looking at the range is to make sure that it has the anti-tip bracket. So the anti-tip bracket is a metal bracket that goes underneath the foot on the back. Usually you can't see this because it's in between cabinets and so forth, but here I can see that bracket on that back right corner. See it? So that's going to prevent us from tipping the oven over.
Money shot.
All right, the anti-tip bracket. Okay, so your dishwasher is in rough shape. It got banged up over here.
Oh,
Take a look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole end cap is broken off.
Okay.
And the whole metal covering is totally bent.
And would water be able to get out from there, or is
Well, let's find out.
Yeah,
We're gonna run
let's
this
do
and
it.
see what happens. But, you know, and the reality is to fix that, to get the parts for this, are going to be worth it with this dishwasher. So you're really going to probably replace the dishwasher.
Just replace it entirely. Yep. Okay.
I mean, technically, if it works and it doesn't leak, you don't have to fix those pieces. But you're probably going to. All right, so let's get this going. All right, so you heard that disposer running, right? The reason it sounded so loud is because they didn't even install this important part.
Oh,
Which is
no
your
kidding.
gasket. This gasket prevents, you know, forks and stuff from falling down in there, and helps prevent stuff from bouncing right back out into your face when you run the disposer. So you really want to install this piece. Very important. We're looking for mouse droppings. I'm not really seeing any, so that's a good sign. We've got some gaps around the pipes and the wires going through here, which you're going to want to seal up to prevent pest movement.
Okay.
Actually, I do see a couple droppings here.
And that sealing up that you were talking about, is that something that I could do myself, or
Yeah, take a look. Can you look over my shoulder here? All right, so take a look at this. Somebody shoved some foam in here because there's a gap behind the cabinet. They were probably getting cold air in here, but also the mouse droppings are along the floor of the cabinet, and these gaps and holes where the pipes go through, those are going to be the places where the mice are going to want to come in. Okay. So you're going to want to seal all that up.
What would you use for a sealant there?
So in general, if you're mouse proofing, you want to use, if you're mouse proofing, you're going to want to use steel wool, because mice will not chew through the steel wool. Okay. They have to chew on everything. So, but if you have a big gap, like in the back of the cabinet, you're going to need to use a piece of some type of board first, cover over the big gap, and then the little gaps you could do with the steel wool. So we're just going to run this is our infrared camera, so we can see what the temperature is of the water. Okay, so we're checking the temperature of the hot water right now. So we have the gas-fired water heater downstairs. This is measuring 125 at the hot. So that's pretty much as high as you really want to go. It's a little too hot. You really want 120 maximum, because over 120 is when you can start to get slow.
And that's something that you can do pretty easily if you go downstairs.
Yeah, I'll show you on the water heater how to
Okay.
adjust the temperature.
All right.
So this is your gas-fired water heater. Water comes into the unit up here. If you ever need to shut off the water supply because it's leaking, you're going to want to shut it off up here, this blue valve.
Okay.
This is your control on the unit. And so this is where you would actually adjust the temperature. So remember, upstairs it was a little hot, and this is exactly where you want it to be if it's a little hot, meaning like it's operating properly. It's not overheating or underheating the water. To get it down to like what we talked about upstairs, between 115 and 120 degrees, you're gonna go to just hot. Right now it's just a little bit above that, because it goes like hot, then A, B, C, and very hot. Usually you just want it on hot. That's your normal setting.
Okay. Easy twist and we're done.
Yep. This water heater is 40 gallons. It was 2022. So it's only 3 years old. Typical average life expectancy of a water heater like this is going to be 8 to 12 years. That's really all you get out of these. The old style ones, you could get longer amounts of time, but these gas-fired water heaters really only last that amount of time. So you want to budget for a future replacement and keep an eye out for any leakage.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people surprisingly think that a hot water heater is a huge expense. It's not cheap in itself, but we just replaced this one for $2,250 all in. So at the end of the day, not the biggest thing that you should be worried about.
That's about right. That's about what you should expect to pay. Maybe a little more, but it's not like a 20 grand type situation.
Exactly. It's not like a new roof or a new heating system.
Exactly. Okay, so outlets in kitchens need to be GFCI protected. GFCI protection protects you against electricity going through you. So you're standing in a puddle or you have your hand in a bowl of water and you plug something in and there's an electrical fault in the unit. Electricity starts to go through you. You start to get electric shock. That's no fun.
Yep.
Hopefully it doesn't happen for very long, but within a couple milliseconds, the outlet detects that the current is no longer going through the circuit. It's going somewhere else, and it immediately will cut off the power. What that looks like here is you've got the GFCI protected outlet. So GFCI stands for ground fault circuit interrupt. And this black button is going to be your test button, which means that's how you test to see if it's doing what it's supposed to do, meaning cut off the power if electricity is going through you. And then you've got your red reset button, which allows you to restore power to the outlet. I have a tester that I use that will determine if the outlet is wired correctly, which I can tell right now it is. That's great. And I have a test button on my tester, which will simulate that ground fault, and it should immediately cut off power to the outlet. So that's great. That worked properly. Let's check this one. So I'm gonna put my tester on here. I'm gonna push the button. Nothing's happening. So that's bad. That means that it's not tripping when it's supposed to. So that means they're gonna have to replace this outlet.
And do you need to have an electrician come out to take care of that, or how big of a issue is that?
It's not a big issue, but you do need to have an electrician do it. I'm not a fan of homeowners doing any of their own wiring because there's lots of things that could go wrong, even if it seems really simple. And so as home inspectors, we never recommend that homeowners do their own wiring.
Okay, so pretty simple, but get a professional.
Exactly.
All right. So do you need to replace the entire thing? Do you need to get it rewired, or how would you get that fixed?
So you don't have to replace the wire that goes to the outlet because we already tested it and we can see that it's wired correctly.
Okay.
So when I run my tester in here, I can see it's wired correctly. So the wire that feeds this is fine. The issue is just the outlet itself. And so an electrician in about 5 minutes can replace the outlet.
Oh, so it's a simple thing.
It's a simple thing. If you have a home that has really old wiring and it's not grounded, you still don't have to replace the wire to the outlet because it's pre-existing and it's ungrounded. It's better to replace it.
Right.
You're gonna want to replace it, but you don't have to. You can use a GFCI protected outlet with ungrounded wire if it's pre-existing to your kitchen or your bathroom or other wet locations. You just have to put a sticker on here that says, warning, ungrounded GFCI, so somebody doesn't think it's grounded. The ground is this third prong right here. So if you're plugging something in that only has 2 prongs, it doesn't technically have to actually be a grounded wire because it's not using even the ground.
Right.
So it's just another interesting thing about electricity.
And look at that. It's only $22 to get that part replaced.
So the inspector told me that this GFCI outlet is broken. How much does it cost to get this fixed?
If you include it with the service call downstairs?
No, just buy it by itself, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you always have the service charge fee.
Okay,
But just if I'm here anyways, to replace a GFI is probably around $75.
okay. But if I called you separately, only
$295 for a service call,
Okay,
plus the cost of the GFI, which is around $35.
perfect. All right.
So this is how they're plugging in the range. So your range is gas, right? So the gas is what fuels the heat to boil your water, cook your pie, whatever. But you still have to have electric power to a gas range. And so they're plugging it into a power strip, which they have kind of semi-permanently twisted into here and then plugged into the wall. And then this outlet, let's see if this one's GFCI. So this is not GFCI. It used to be that it had to be only on the areas that were within 6 feet of the sink, but now it's all counter height outlets.
Got it.
So you're gonna wanna upgrade to this to GFCI, number one. Number two, you're gonna wanna put an outlet in the wall behind this unit so you don't have to do this routine,
Right.
because that's not safe.
Yep.
Okay, so this is thermal seal failure, where the thermal seal between the two panes of glass fails, and then you get condensation between the panes, which then results in this residue and kind of fogs the window. It just gets more and more discolored over time. Eventually you can't see through it. So the only real fix here is to replace this window.
To replace it entirely. Okay.
Yeah, some windows you can re-glaze, which means like take the sash, which is the frame part with the glass in it, take the sash out, put new glass in it, put the sash back in. But these windows are so old and they're in rough shape that it wouldn't really be worth it to re-glaze them.
Other than cosmetics and the way that it looks, what are some of the other things that happen from that?
That's a great question. Double insulated glass has either a vacuum between the panes of glass or it has a gas like argon. When you have a thermal seal failure, you lose that vacuum or you lose that gas.
Okay.
So you lose a little bit of the thermal insulating capability of the window, but it's a really small amount. It's not a lot.
Small difference. Okay.
So if you have like a barely noticeable thermal seal failure, you're not going to go replace the window right away, right? Because you're not worried about the energy component that much, and it's not that unattractive. But eventually, it's just you don't want your windows.
So it sounds like it's not an immediate need, but eventually you'd want to address it.
Yeah, it's going to be what your budget will allow, number one, and it's also going to be what your tolerance level is. And yeah, it's not urgent; it doesn't have to be done today.